do you guys think? What's beneficial about genetic variation? Alexa? You mind speaking up a little bit? So it helps fitness. Because what? So Alexa's saying it will help fitness because if one part of the population is affected by disease, it's possible that the other part is not, allowing survival of that whole population. Because allows for survival and we kind of witnessed this when we were examining the sickle cell anemia case, right? So variety of that HBV allele allowed some individuals to survive in the presence of malaria when disease was present, whereas some of those genotypes were eliminated, unfortunately. Right? So that variety helped the population survive through disease. What else? Yes, Libby?
A diverse population will have less inbreeding related disease.
Yeah, so what does inbreeding do? So we know it's bad. But what exactly is inbreeding? What is inbreeding? Yes, Jimena?
Basically, like if there's some kind of mutation that forms in the family and it's not fatal, if they were to inbreed, that mutation could more likely be passed on to the offspring.
So Savannah said that if there's a mutation in a particular population and it's not fatal, you're saying? It's not fatal, but is it good?
No, like they're carrying it, but they're not affected by it, and if they were to mate with among themselves, it's very likely that they can both pass on that one recessive allele.
Excellent. Yeah, no, absolutely. So the idea is that there's a mutation that happens in the population, and it's not fatal, but it's no good, and it keeps getting passed on. And if that population is small, it's going to get passed around to everyone, and then the whole population that fitness is going to go down. So you can get an increase in deleterious because there's no selection going on, you have a really small population, that deleterious mutation is going to get spread throughout that small population, and then everyone's going to suffer. Did you want to say something? Oh, no, you had your hand up.
Because, like, inbreeding increases homozygosity instead of heterozygosity. So.
Right, so inbreeding reduces variety. Right? Basically, everyone starts having the same genotype. This is why everyone on the island of Iceland is like everyone's second cousin or something. There's some relation, I don't know, it's like 6 degrees of Ken Bacon type thing. But I'm dead serious. Alright, anyway. So there's kind of two kind of phenomena that happens to populations that can increase your likelihood of inbreeding and decrease that genetic variation. The first one's called the bottleneck effect. And this kind of visualization shows what happened. Basically, you have a population, and suddenly you subsample that population. You only take out a handful of individuals. So this can happen with natural disasters. So there's actually been a lot of research after Hurricane Harvey that's going on right now in Florida, trying to understand what's happening to all these different populations in the Florida Keys. So I think key deer have a population of a little bit over 1,000 in the Florida Keys, and now they're down to like 30. So it went from 1,000 deer to 30. Now, do the genotypes of the surviving population reflect the variety that existed beforehand? No, they don't. Now, are they more fit than the previous population? What's that? Does anybody have a hypothesis? Yes?
Probably, since they all survive.
But are they adapted to survive a hurricane? So this is where Jared made a really good point. So here we have whether they are truly adapted to it. Is there some kind of selection process at hand, or is it just drift? Right? So remember the case of where we were all bears, and part of the bears were just taken out by some random process? Happens all the time in nature. That is not selection, that's genetic drift. Right? So some subset of the population survived, but they weren't necessarily the most fit. The genes and the traits that they carried weren't the best. They just happened to be the ones that survived. It's just totally by chance. Now that surviving population might be hurt because they have lower genetic variability and the traits that they hold might not be the best. So this happened to the wolves. How did this happen to the wolves? You can recall different dynamics. When might there have been a bottleneck for the wolves? Yes, Madison?
I think there were two. I think it was with the disease and then also with inbreeding caused like depression.
So the disease was not necessarily a random thing. So we might actually say that's a selection. That's natural selection place. So the wolves that survived are due to the ones that survived are more resistant to the virus. So that's more of a selective thing. I was thinking more that the bottleneck occurred when they arrived on the island. Right? So think about, they only arrived on the island when there was an ice bridge. And there was only two immigrations to the island. There was one back in the 40s, and there was one wolf that came from Canada and they mated with all the wolves, right? So it's a very rare event. And the genotypes that they brought with them were the only genes that they had to work with. There were no other traits available for that population to work with. And so suddenly you go from a really healthy population of wolves in Canada to 20 wolves on this one island. And what the genetic makeup of those wolves was, the genetic makeup that existed for those wolves was all they had to work with. There's no other variety to work with. So this was an example of modeling. Now, the founder effect is, it's the founder effect. So the founder effect is, it's the same idea, it's subselecting, but, the founder effect is when you arrive and you only get a subset of that population. Bottleneck is when there's some kind of like mass die-off. So the canine parvovirus might actually fall under this. You could debate this. So I think Madison, you're absolutely right. So founder effect is arrival, my apologies, arrival on island. So I'm going to put the virus in question marks because I don't think scientists truly understand whether this is a bottleneck effect or whether there was actual selection going on. It was a novel virus that comes from dogs. It's not really natural in wolf populations, so it's hard to say whether it's actually selection. So I apologize for that confusion. Founder effect is when you arrive. Bottlenecking is when there's like this human disaster that takes out much of your population. So if you have any questions on that, I apologize for the confusion. Yes or no?
So is it like for both guys, is it basically isolation from like other species from like their other kinds of species that will cause like the reduction in genetic variation?
Right, so now Renell's saying is that both of these are basically isolation effects. You are isolating a small population of a species from the rest of that population. Whether that's by eliminating all of them in the bottleneck effect, or whether it's just by removing them, or having them immigrate to someplace new. So you're absolutely right. This is a means of isolating the population to get a small population, which is going to have a really tough time.